The president has warned us about the dangers of going over the fiscal cliff, but his actions have not matched his public statements. Members of his own party seem quite comfortable with sending the economy over the fiscal cliff. 2 weeks ago, we had a very productive conversation at the White House. But based on where we stand today, I would say two things. First, despite the claims that the president supports a balanced approach, the Democrats have yet to get serious about real spending cuts. And secondly, no substantive progress has been made in the talks between the White House and the House over the last 2 weeks. Listen, this is not a game. Jobs are on the line, the American economy is on the line, and this is a moment for adult leadership. Campaign-style rallies and one-sided leaks in the press are not the way to get things done here in Washington. The Majority Leader and I just had a meeting with the Treasury Secretary. It was frank and it was direct. I was hopeful we'd see a specific plan for cutting spending. We sought to find out today what the president really is willing to do. Listen, I remain hopeful that productive conversations can be had in the days ahead, but the White House has to get serious. Yesterday, our leadership team met with Erskine Bowles and business leaders about averting the fiscal cliff and achieving the balanced approach the White House says it wants. And I've made clear that we've put real concessions on the line by putting revenues on the table right up front. Unfortunately, many Democrats continue to rule out sensible spending cuts that must be part of any significant agreement that will reduce our deficit. And Mr. Bowles himself said yesterday there's been no serious discussion of spending cuts so far. And unless there's a real danger of going off the fiscal cliff. Now listen, going off the fiscal cliff will hurt our economy and will cost American jobs. Republicans have taken action to avert the fiscal cliff by passing legislation to stop all the tax hikes, to replace the sequester, and pave the way for tax reform and entitlement reform. And we're the only ones with a balanced plan to protect the economy, protect American jobs, and protect the middle class from the fiscal cliff. But without spending cuts and entitlement reforms, it's going to be impossible to address our country's debt crisis and get our economy going again and to create jobs. So right now, all eyes are on the White House. The country doesn't need a victory lap. It needs leadership. It's time for the president, congressional Democrats, to tell the American people what spending cuts they're really willing to make.